Warzone 2 is absolutely jam-packed full of settings that you guys can change, but there's definitely a few of them that you guys haven't looked at, you haven't set up correctly, and it's limiting your gameplay experience. So today I've got for you guys 6 of the most important settings in Warzone 2 that you guys need to change right now. So let's begin today by talking about armor plates, specifically how we actually put back on armor plates that have been ripped off. By default, it's not set up very well at all. By default, you have to spam the button. For me, it's G on my keyboard. If you're on controller, it'll be a different button, not sure what it is, but you have to spam that button multiple times to get all of those plates on, which isn't good because if you imagine that I'm in a fight over here and I've shot a guy over here and he's ripped off my plates and then I have to duck into cover and I know that he's pushing me, I need to put on the armor plates but continue moving because I can't just sit here like a sit and duck. I need to try and probably move over here, maybe even get through this window. It's not a good situation. So what we can do, if we come in here and we're going to change the setting of, if we just search for armor in here, it's called armor plate behavior. You can find it in the, for me it's in keyboard or mouse. For you guys, you'll find it in controller. If you're playing on controller, you'll find it in here. In the gameplay area, you're looking for armor plate behavior. By default, it's set to apply 1, which you'll see means that if I press G once, it puts on one armor plate. But then I have to press G again to put on another armor plate, making it difficult to do multiple inputs at once. So what we want to do is change this to apply all. So in this example, I've got 3 armor plates in my inventory and I've got 2 plate slots available. If I press G once and take my hands off the keyboard, you'll see I put on both the armor plates. So that would mean I can press G once and then I can move around, which is incredibly important. So that's setting number 1. Now, if any of you want an easy-to-use tool that enables you to share your ideas and also create tutorials just like this, then Demo Creator is for you. Created by the guys over at Wondershare, Demo Creator offers all the necessary tools to record, stream, and edit high-quality guides and tutorials that your audience will love. The tool even supports 120 FPS game recording with real-time screen drawing, allowing you to drive focus to key points on your screen. It includes webcam recording too, to ensure that you keep up that personal face-to-face feel with your fans, but also offers virtual backgrounds and even virtual avatars for all of you aspiring VTubers out there. Within the easy-to-use drag-and-drop editor, you've got a bunch of gaming effect packs, an intuitive audio editing component with a fun voice changer, as well as a packed sound effects studio to give your videos that extra bump. If you head to the video description right now, there's a link to the Demo Creator website where you can download a free trial. The trial will include watermarks on any exported video, but it's a great way to check out all of Demo Creator's features. Wondershare also have a competition right now where if you create a video and share it with the hashtag #PresentWithDemoCreator, then you'll be in a chance of winning a prize. 3 creators will get premium licenses for Demo Creator, whilst 1 lucky winner will get $100 worth of Amazon gift cards. So head over to the link in the description and try out Demo Creator today. So the next one here is all about your crosshairs. Now, I want you to jump into your game and check what happens when you look left and right. Because for me at the moment, you'll see that when I look left and right, or even up and down, or I do big circles, my crosshair kind of moves around from the center. If I look right, it sort of moves a bit to the right and then bounces back to the middle. If I look left, it moves to the left and bounces back to the middle. Now, whilst this might be some kind of immersiveness, some people might like how this looks, I can't imagine why. This is not good for doing what we call centering, or what a lot of players in other games like Valorant and stuff would call crosshair placement. Crosshair placement is the idea of, as we move around, is to have our crosshair trained on the area where we think we might find enemies. This crosshair bobbing is bad for that. So what we need to do to change this, it's in the name, I just said it, it's called crosshair bobbing. It's in the interface area. All you need to do, real simple one, is just turn it off. And now what we have is a crosshair that is constantly stuck right to the center of our screen. And some of you guys might already have this set up, as I said, but a lot of you might not. So make sure you got that set correctly. Okay, so for this next setting, I thought there'd be no better place to go than the firing range, because this is all going to be about recoil, but specifically visual recoil. Now, it's even worse and even more apparent in the game these days in Warzone 2. So what is visual recoil? If you guys don't know, a lot of you guys might already know what it is. It's nothing to do with, you know, the actual recoil of the guns. If I shoot this cast of 7.62, I get a recoil pattern that goes up the wall like this. It's nothing to do with that. It's actually to do with how your screen bounces around when you start shooting. My screen's bouncing, the sight's bouncing, and it makes it incredibly hard to stay on target. even when the gun isn't recoiling that much. And we want to reduce that as much as possible. Luckily, it's very, very easy to do. So if you come into your settings and you go to your graphics area, to the view area, and find where FOV is. This is for console and for PC players. You'll hopefully have already turned up your FOV to max or near max. But we also have these two other options after it, which is ADS FOV and weapon FOV. So if we have it set to affected, then our field of view when we actually zoom in with our gun is affected by the increased FOV we've set here. So by default on independent, I've got my 120 FOV, but then when I zoom in, it zooms really far in because it goes to like the default ADS FOV, which isn't good. What we want to do is give ourselves improved FOV while ADSing. And so to do that, all we do is change this to affected. And you'll see now when I scope in, I actually don't zoom in that much. The second thing you can then do is the weapon field of view. So it's set here to narrow. A lot of you guys might have it set at default, but what you need to set it to is wide. And what this does is it actually moves the gun a bit further away from you, and it does have a small effect on your ADS field of view. So now when I scope in, my actual sight itself takes up a lot less space. And when I start shooting, that bounce is still there, but it's far less apparent than it was when we were really zoomed in. Now, it does have a slight negative because the actual target you're shooting looks like they're further away because you're not as zoomed in. But quite honestly, I mean, like, look at this. You can easily keep on the target now because your gun isn't bouncing all over the place. This is probably one of the most crucial settings you're going to see in this video, so make sure you've got this set up as I've shown you. Okay, let's talk about movement now. We still have the tactical sprint that we had from the previous Warzone game, and if you guys are new, this is the way that we can use a slightly faster sprint, but it does have its own sort of internal cooldown. So you'll see here, I can't activate it. Here we go, I can activate it there again for a little bit. You activate it by double tapping the sprint button, so for PC, that's going to be your shift button. Just double tap that and you'll do a tactical sprint. On a controller, push the stick in twice and you do a tactical sprint. There are two pretty significant problems with that. First one is actually just overall damage to peripherals and your body. It's not healthy to be clicking like that all the time, every time you need to tap sprint. It will actually cause a lot of ongoing injuries if you play the game a lot. It's also bad because there's no visual indicator as to whether that tactical sprint is available for you to use. So I just have to sort of tap away until it becomes available. It's not going to automatically put me into attack sprint when it's available, which isn't great. So what I'd recommend that you guys do, and this is what all the pro players do, so follow what they do, you don't have to take my advice, this is what professional players of the multiplayer and Warzone do, is to enable automatic tack sprints. The way you do this is you need the setting automatic sprint. Select whichever one is good for you. It'll either be in your controller gameplay setting or in the keyboard gameplay setting area. And automatic sprint by default will be off. You want to turn this to automatic tactical sprint. What this will do is that just by holding forward, so I automatically am tack sprinting forward. I never even need to touch the sprint key, never mind tap it twice. And what's great is that as soon as my tack sprint becomes available again, you'll see it activates. So I'm always ready to tactical sprint as soon as I can in the game, which makes moving around and outplaying enemies so much easier. This is an important saying you need to change. So weapon mounting is still a really important feature in Warzone 2 that you need to be using. You know, if I'm trying to shoot someone who's quite far away, this game has a load of recoil, bounce, and everything we've already covered in this video, and it can make it hard to keep track of an enemy at range. If I mount, then, oh, let's not mount on this wall, let's mount on this one. It just really brings down that recoil, and it's an incredibly important feature. However, if I need to leave my mounted position as quick as possible, potentially because like an enemy, you know, pushes in behind me and I need to quickly turn around and shoot him, well, there's a couple of ways you can actually exit a mount. The first way is to press the same button that you got onto the mount with. So on keyboard, that's T. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if you're playing on keyboard and mouse, I guarantee there's no way that in that split second where you get pushed by an enemy, you're going to think, oh, I need to press T to get off. Best way to leave your mount, a lot of the time, is to just hold a movement key. So for example, I can hold my right key and I dismount, but there's a delay. So if I press D now, there's about a half-second delay, which feels like you're just stuck to that mount way too much. Luckily, we can change it. All you need to do is find a setting called weapon mount exit delay. So I'm going to go to the keyboard and mouse version. By default, this will probably be set to medium. You want to put it to short. This is how long you need to hold a movement input before you exit weapon mounting. So by putting this to short and then mounting, I basically just need to tap the movement button and I'm straight off that mount as quick as possible. So if I'm down here and I'm shooting, I suddenly hear someone, I'm ready. I'm instantly ready to turn and shoot them. And it might not seem like much, it's kind of hard to show it on video, but it feels so much better. And I guarantee that most of you guys have never even touched that setting, so go change it now. So our final setting today is going to be all about improving one of the most important parts of the game that you need to get right in Warzone 2, and that is your landing at the start of the game. If you're landing at a hot drop area or even just somewhere that's slightly contested and you get beaten down to the ground, well, they're going to pick up a gun and you're going to be running around like a headless chicken and you're probably going to die. So it's very important that you hit the ground first. Now, by default in Warzone 2, your parachute will auto-deploy at a certain range above the ground. And that's a set distance above the ground so that new players don't accidentally splat into the ground. You need to turn that parachute auto-deploy off. Because what this is going to allow you to do is you're going to be able to get really, really near the ground and then deploy your parachute at the last second so that you basically hit the ground with no slowdown. You'll see in the footage here how it compares the parachute auto-deploy versus non-parachute auto-deploy, and the difference is insane. So here's how you turn it off. You're going to come into your settings. It's called, I believe, just parachute auto-deploy. Once again, for keyboard or for controller. And you just need to make sure that this is off. You see here, off. It will open the parachute only by pressing jump. So if you don't press the jump button and you fall in, you will splat. You will just die. That's your fault at that point. Having it on means that the parachute will open automatically before you hit the ground. But you're going to get beaten down. You're going to lose out on gunfights. It's not going to be very fun for you. So get used to having this off. It improves your gameplay experience so much. And that's all the settings we've got today. If you guys haven't set these up as I've shown them, go sort those out. It's going to make the game so much better in general for all of those little situations I've pointed out. It's going to help you win more gunfights, get down to the floor a bit quicker, keep your recoil in check. All really important stuff in Warzone 2. If you could leave down in the comments any other settings, things that I haven't covered yet, that you think are really important that you found a personal preference for, maybe you could help out some of the other guys who look down in the comments later on. If you have found this video informative and you're interested in seeing more of my content, then please do subscribe and hit the bell notification as well so you can get notified anytime I upload a new video. And also leave a like on the video, helps out in the algorithm just that little bit so we can get this video out to as many people as possible. And also, if you guys have an NVIDIA GPU for Warzone 2, then you need to check out my video covering the NVIDIA control panel and the best way you can set that up to just push that performance a little bit further than you can with just the in-game settings. That video is going to help you out a ton. Already had some really good feedback on that, so why don't you go check it out.